What if I told you that confidence has less to do with feeling fully ready and everything to do with being willing to act even while scared? I have built different businesses. I have led large groups of people. I have stood on stages while feeling terrified and shaking inside, and yet I am still here, still standing, and still moving forward. So if you've ever asked yourself how to stay calm when things feel overwhelming, or how to stop your brain from overthinking, or how to build a kind of confidence that actually lasts, then listen closely. I want to walk you through the truth about how to really build confidence. Most people get this backwards. They think confidence comes first, and then action follows. But it's the other way around. Confidence is not the input, it's the output. A lot of people ask me, how do I become confident? And I understand why they ask, because almost everyone around them says things like, believe in yourself, or you just have to trust yourself. Many people even tell you to write affirmations on your bathroom mirror and repeat them daily. And let me be real with you, I did exactly that when I was in my early 20s. I had all the words written on my mirror. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am capable. I am confident. But guess what? Nothing changed. Not one thing. Those affirmations didn't move the needle for me. The reason is simple. True confidence doesn't come from repeating phrases. It comes from action. That is why I always remind people that your mood follows your plan. If you can keep the promises you make to yourself, especially on the days when you don't want to, then that becomes the input that produces confidence as the output. Most people are chasing the result while skipping the process. Think about it like this. Imagine someone saying, I just really want to be fit. And all they do is sit around wishing to be fit, visualizing themselves being fit, talking about it endlessly. But nothing changes until they actually get in the gym, eat the right food, and move their body. You cannot simply wish yourself into a new state. You have to act yourself into it. Let me give you a real example from my life. When I was 21, I moved across the country. I had no job lined up, no real money to fall back on, and honestly no clue what I was doing. I certainly did not feel confident in myself or my ability to make things work. But I told myself, at the very least, I need to make some kind of plan. So I moved to California, found a small apartment, and then searched for work. Since my degree was in exercise science, I looked for gyms within walking distance, because I couldn't afford gas for driving far. Eventually, I landed a job at 24, R Fitness. Here's what I quickly discovered: the role wasn't really about fitness or exercise knowledge. It was about sales and marketing, and I was terrified because I didn't know a thing about sales or marketing. I felt like a complete imposter. I would look at my bank account dropping lower and lower every week, with rent, food, gas, insurance, and student loans to pay. I had maybe 3 months of breathing room before everything would collapse. That fear could have broken me, but I decided I wasn't going to quit. I wasn't going to walk away and make myself feel even worse, so I put in the work. I read 5 books on sales. I arrived at 4 a.m. and stayed until 9 p.m. I practiced. I asked questions. I learned from people better than me. The first time I tried to sell, I was so nervous that I thought I was going to throw up. I literally hid in the bathroom for a moment, feeling sick. But I didn't quit. I kept going. For the first 30 days, I was terrified. Then one day, I made my first sale. My team and manager gathered around, celebrating. And while the applause felt nice, what really mattered was how I felt about myself. In that moment, something inside me shifted. My brain suddenly had evidence that I could do it. The picture I had of my future self became more real. And from there, more possibilities opened in my mind. That breakthrough didn't happen because of the affirmations on my mirror. It happened because I put in the reps day after day. That's why I say, confidence doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care where you come from, what you've been through, or what background you have. What matters is whether you are willing to put in the work and give your brain evidence that you can handle it. Our brains are wired to gather evidence and then build beliefs from that evidence. If someone tells me, I want to go speak on stage, but I'm not confident enough yet, I say, of course you're not confident. You've never done it before. Your brain naturally tries to predict outcomes. If you've never spoken on stage, your brain can't predict success, so it gives you fear. Fear, in that sense, is just your brain's way of keeping you safe. It wants you to avoid danger. The brain is designed for survival, not for success, so it makes total sense that you wouldn't feel confident before you've done the thing. The good news is this: once you do it, your brain learns. It realizes you didn't die. It realizes you can survive it. And then confidence grows. But just like a muscle, confidence weakens if you don't keep exercising it. You cannot build confidence once and then expect it to last forever without practice. It requires pressure and reps, just like training a muscle. When I was overweight and wanted to lose 100 pounds, I decided to act like fit people. I ate like they did. I trained like they did. I even dressed in ways that made me feel like them. But the most important thing I did was track my habits daily. I wrote down what I ate and when I worked out. Did I lose 50 pounds in a single week? Of course not. But over time, the data showed progress. Even if I had a bad day or felt I overate, the tracking kept me honest. Over weeks and months, the small changes added up. And here's the truth: confidence comes from data, not dopamine. When you track your progress, your brain sees hard evidence, not just feelings. And that evidence helps override the emotional stories you tell yourself, like, I'm not good enough, or I'll never succeed. If you don't track your progress, you only remember the bad days. You forget the good ones. But when you track, you see both. You see the bigger picture. Now maybe you're thinking, but I try to track, and I still struggle to stay consistent. If that's you, then my guess is that you're trying to start too big. You're making leaps instead of steps. The fastest way to grow confidence is to start with something so small you almost can't fail. I once knew a coach who didn't tell new clients to change their diet or go to the gym in the first week. He just asked them to make their bed every day and send a photo. Why? Because he wanted them to feel the reward of consistency with something easy. That small act built confidence. Then they were ready for the next step. The same principle works everywhere. For my business goals, I break them into tiny daily steps. I don't just set huge targets and then feel overwhelmed. I break them into 20 smaller tasks and check off one each day. That way, I feel momentum instead of burnout. And momentum is what creates lasting confidence. When I work with people scared of public speaking, I don't push them straight onto a big stage. I start with baby steps. Maybe they speak for 60 seconds in a small meeting, then 2 minutes in a larger group, then a short presentation. Over time, those small wins add up until they are leading entire events. Confidence is built in layers, not all at once. And here's the part people miss: emotion follows motion. If you wait to feel confident before acting, you will never act. You cannot think your way into confidence. You behave your way into confidence. Fear feels huge, but it's shallow. It's a mile wide and an inch deep. It feels unbearable right before you step into the scary thing, but once you are in it, fear dissolves quickly. Every time I step on stage, I still feel afraid. My mouth goes dry, my heart races, my body shakes. But within a minute or two of speaking, it eases. Not because the fear magically disappeared beforehand, but because I acted anyway. That is the formula. You cannot erase fear before you move. You take fear with you, and then it shrinks as you go. That is what I want you to practice. Take the thing you're most afraid of. Don't wait to be fearless. Instead say, I'm bringing fear with me. Imagine putting it in your bag and carrying it along. You don't have to like it. You don't have to get rid of it. You simply take it along and act anyway. That is how you live with fear and still move forward. I am not confident because I never feel scared. I am confident because I take action despite the fear. Building confidence is the foundation for creating the life you want. And now you know the real formula: confidence is an output, not an input. It comes from action, from tracking your progress, from breaking tasks into small steps, and from taking fear with you rather than waiting for it to leave.